Hey, what's going on, guys? So this is the part 2 video of our bag videos, and we're gonna be going to Reimagine Wraps to get our bag job done, and we're here, so let's go check it out. Okay, so we're here at the shop, and you can see the Camry right here. Okay, so we're gonna be dropping this car off for a couple days. They're gonna start working on it and they're gonna start bagging it. Some crazy things here. This is a G-Wagon. You can see the red leather and then the glass screen. It's crazy. Like this Nardo gray. Okay, so this is the before, which of course we're gonna be riding on this height most of the time either ways, but this is how it looks before we bag it. And also eventually, since Reimagine Wraps has this cutter for wraps, we're probably gonna extend this like Japan flag all the way into like the whole entire fender, so that'll look really nice. We're probably gonna do it to both sides too, so it looks really cool. Just something to think about. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I am shocked. It's so low. And the car is tucked now, like magically tucked. What? Is this our car? Oh my god. Look at that. Look at the front. This is low. What the heck? It sounds like I'm overreacting, but this is like crazy. After seeing the car at one height for over like 2 years. So cambering your car really does a big difference. We had like a half-inch poke back when we had no bags, and now it's tucked. Look at that stamps. You can see it's kind of cambered inwards. It's really like clean. Look at that. And here's the front. It's like all the way in. You could actually see the camber arms and toes in there. Right there. You can see the Megan Racing camber toe arm. Whoa. Whoa, look at that. It's super high. Dang. And it's loud too. Whoa. So everything looks good, no leaks, and it looks like we're ready to go.
But it's like a once in a month thing. All this stuff you shouldn't have to mess with. Literally, like, pull this out. And that'll drain the tank.
Okay.
But you want to do that like once a month because all the water that sits in the bottom of the tank, when you pull this, it's going to drain some of that water out. You can even put it like this out of the car if it starts shooting.
Okay, so now we're showing you where we got our car aligned, and the ramps were perfect so the car could go on the ramp perfectly. And we just got our alignment there, and we actually had to go to like 8 different alignment shops just to get this done because people were turning us down. But here it is, it's on the rack and they're aligning it right now. Looks good. Perfect. Okay, so we're done. So I have all of the control on my hands, which is really, really cool. We got the Bluetooth one, so we could use the app. And watch this. And that's our completely aired out stage. And this is really crazy how we see this really, really low. And we actually got everything aligned, everything's ready, everything's also adjusted. So this is pretty much it for our car. And you can see how low the front is. And you can't even see the top of the tire anymore right here. So we're really, really tucked in the front. So our camber in the front is -2, which is subtle. And that's just to make it tuck inside of the wheel well. And everything sits perfectly, nothing's touching. And this is like a really, really nice setup. And our struts are air demand, so it might be different for other struts. Ours is adjusted on the lower side on the front, but on the other hand, on the back, we have a negative 3.6 to 3.8 camber, and that one is aggressive. So of course the tire is gonna eat a little bit, but you know, the lowered cars already eat tires. I can't put my shoe under, so that's how low it is, and it's pretty much perfect. We're running around 75 psi in the front on ride height, and also 50 in the back. And we'll get more into detail with the presets we have in this car now. So for air suspension, you could do this like completely different than us. We could do really high on adjustment or really low on adjustment. So you can see right here, this is one of the lower settings, and when you air out, you could go really low. But when you air up, then it's not going to be as high as if you adjust it high. So you know, bags, they have a limit. You could go a certain distance up and down. So if you adjust it low, then that means that when you air up, it won't be as high. So when you adjust it on the high end, like when you make the strut bigger, then that means you could go about as high as stock. And when you air out, it's not going to be as high as this. It's probably going to be just as high as right here. So you gotta know what you want to achieve. You want to go really low, or if you want to go really high. For this one, we went really low, but in the back setup, we actually did it a little bit different than the front. We actually adjusted the struts a little bit higher than the fronts because we have a lot of passengers in the back, and we didn't want to like have some stress in the back, so we actually did it higher. And you could see here, it's not as flush as this one, so it's a little bit higher, but you can see it's still low. So let me show you the ride heights real quick. So now I'm going to show you the ride height that we're going to be using. So right now the bags are filling up with air, and the compressors just kicked in. So what we use is 76 psi in the front and 50 psi in the back. And you can see there's a difference. The backs use less psi because the struts are higher, and you don't need to like put as much psi for it to go higher. So on the fronts you have 76 psi because it needs to go a little bit higher because the struts are low. So if you're lower, that means you're probably going to use a lot more psi just to get it to this kind of height. So it's all about what you want on the install. You're going to be putting more psi when it's lower, or if you're going to go higher, you don't need as much psi. So there are different manufacturers out there that make struts. So for example, Airlift, which is probably the most common, and then there's Airdemand, Air Force, there's even AirTech. There's so many out there. So there might be a little bit of a difference in PSIs because the bags could be built different. They could be either smaller or bigger. So right now we're using 73 psi just to achieve this height. This is the daily driver ride height with the family inside. So now let's show you the one when there's only one person in the car. And this one's just a little bit lower than our daily driver with people inside. And this is a lower by 20 psi in the front and lower by 15 psi in the back. So we're running 55 here and 35 on the back. So you can see it's a little bit lower. You could see less gap. You could get around 1 finger gap here, and then in the front is around the same. And then this is going to be our max air height. And you can see the back, it's really high. So you can see here it's 104 in the front and 73 in the back. And you can see that since we adjusted our struts to be higher, you can see that the car is now higher in the back. And 73 psi, you can see how high it is. You could get around a 3 finger gap now. And then the fronts are around 2. but we're already at 104 psi in the front. So that's how you could see that if you adjust the struts low, then that's probably what you're gonna have, and then if you have a high adjustment, that's what you're probably gonna get. So for a complete air out from the highest setting to the lowest setting, this is how it's gonna look. That's pretty much it. Our bag setup is completely done, and a lot of people ask us, is the bags worth it? The answer is yes and no. Because if you want to have a worry-free car and you just want to just go anywhere you want and you want to go up and down, that's not how it is. There's actually a lot of stuff that you have to put into, and you gotta clean out your tank every once in a while. You got to worry about if your car is turned or not in a parking spot, and if you have this turned, you're gonna end up ruining your fenders. So you have to have it straight. You got to worry about little stuff like even our alignment. We actually took this car to like 8 different alignment shops, and 4 of them already said nope. If it's air suspension, we don't want to even look at it. No touch, nothing. And even some alignment shops, their actual machines, they're really high, so this car couldn't even get to the top. And we had to go to another alignment shop, and they actually specialized in bag cars and lowered cars. So it was good that we got it there, and it was in Riverside. So if you want to get your alignment done, you could go to Riverside and check it out. Again, this is a car. So the pros of this, which I feel like there's more to us, and you could go up and down. You could go up and down on the streets. You could like air out at car shows. It's worth it. It's fun, and we don't have any headaches yet. Knock on wood, we don't get any. But so far, we're enjoying this like heck. So far, everything is a blast. We really like it, and we're just having fun airing out in front of people. They're all like turning their heads, and we even got a compliment from the FedEx guy right now. They said, sick. We're probably gonna use this on the weekends only, so yeah. So that's our setup, and our bag setup is done. We don't even know what to do with our car next. So here's our trunk setup, and it's a simple setup. There's 2 compressors and then the 1 tank, and then the actual management system in the middle. And we have our 2 12-inch subs in the back. Our purge tank is actually on the bottom, so if you have any water in your tank, you can take it out there. And there's even a water trap thing right here in the back. So if you have any water in your tank, you can empty it here in the back. And you could just ask your installer to install some of those, and that's pretty much it. So what we did was we actually programmed the car to, when it starts, it'll go straight to ride height, because if you leave it at aired out and you turn the wheel a little bit or even move the wheel, you're gonna end up dragging all of that fender liner out and all of that. It's gonna be a mess. You're gonna mess up your fenders. So that's why we have this. It's kind of like a safety thing, and you can see it's already at ride height when we turn on the car. So you can see here, our very bottom button is 0 psi for everything, and then our second to bottom button has 54 and 30 psi, which is our low ride height. And then the actual airlift performance button, that's our desired ride height, which is this one right now. And when you turn on the car, it'll go straight to this one. And our almost top button is our, it's just a little bit higher if you have passengers, so 82 and 55. And then if you want to clear big obstacles, it's 105 and 68. So you have 5 presets. You could actually change it on the app. You could have just slowly moving it up. Here's the super high one, which is, you could go higher. The bags could go up to around 140 psi, but no one says to go that high because it's really like firm and it's not going to be good for the bags. So this is our super high ride height, and that's for clearing speed bumps or whatever is in the way. And then here is our second to highest.
Which one's that?
This one is the one that is 82 and 55, which is not that big of a difference.
Okay.
And then here is our desired ride height. It barely makes a difference, but.
Okay. Next.
And then our low ride height. That one's actually a big difference in the back. And then here's our complete air out.
It goes up pretty quick.
Yeah, and you could go to your ride height pretty fast. There you go. You're already ready. So that's pretty much what air suspension is. And if you have the Airlift 3P management system, this could be different if you have something else. So that's gonna be the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed. And if you're gonna bag your car, hopefully this helps you. And this is for pretty much all the other cars as well, not just Camrys. So stay tuned for more videos, and we're probably gonna do some photo shoots with this soon and meeting up with a lot of other Camrys out there. And we'll see you in the next video.
¡No!
Está. Haz de cuenta que estaba como 91 y se convierte en 215, ¿sabes?